All right, we got one more here.
I like this.
All right, so
This is so on the nose. Jay Leno under fire for joke.
Ba-da-da-da-da-da.
You know, the New York Post writing room was like, good one,
Yes.
excellent job.
Somebody was like, nice.
He joked
Nice.
that he crashed into Jeremy Renner's snowplow.
It was off color, but I got a little bit of a kick out of it. It didn't offend
It's off
me.
color, but so is the headline that he's under fire. So
That's it. As long as Jay Leno goes, ha, you got me. That was good.
for a while, I thought that his burns were going to be really severe the
No,
way
he
they
looks
framed
fine.
it in the media, but he was fine. Jeremy Renner is going to be fine too.
Hopefully. I mean, he's got a long road of recovery ahead of him. But, it's my hope is that if I've always said, if anything bad happens to me, I give everyone here permission to make fun of me. It's fine.
Wait, if you die?
If I die, you're welcome.
I won't make fun of you if you die. If you get into a big
serious
accident,
accident?
and once we know you're going to be okay,
You're-
then I feel like we're in a golden era to start not making fun of you, but maybe trying to make light of the situation.
Yeah.
But only if you're going to be okay.
Let's look.
Brett, didn't you say one of your legs is longer than the other naturally?
Slightly longer than the other.
If you got in an accident, you got a boot on the leg that's shorter. That would be miraculous for your balance.
That's amazing. It's
I just thought of that.
It's that could work pretty well. But it's like if I me and several people here, me and Dane even, there's jokes there's humor that is definitely dark that doesn't bother me, that have always been just part of. You have to be able to laugh at yourself and laugh at certain circumstances. I think it's part of also coming through addiction for me is I can't take it so seriously.
Yeah.
I can be serious when I talk about it with people and say, look, it's a very serious thing to have to go through. But when you go through a period in your life where you're literally sure that you're going to die alone in your apartment, it's very hard to not gain some perspective from that, where humor just doesn't bother me.
One of the comments said, the phony outrage on behalf of Jeremy Renner, who probably would think that this is funny, is ridiculous. And it made me think, is Jay Leno sort of representative of a time long past of late night and real comedy being presented on TV?
One of my favorite late night segments is when Dave Letterman used to do the top 10 list. And they did this one. Now I don't remember what car it was, but there was an SUV that kept catching on fire. And
is it a Tesla
SUV?
SUV?
No, this is a very long time ago, and I don't remember if it was if it's a Ford, it was like a Ford Explorer or something, some year model of Ford Explorer, and the number one on the list was it was the top 10 rebranding ideas for the Ford Explorer, and it was forget Chevy, we've got the real Blazer, and it's people were getting very, very hurt when they were doing this at that time, and it was just. You understood that it was humor.
Yeah. Have you ever listened to, it's an NPR show called Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me. And they do it Sunday or Saturday morning. I can't remember when. And they'll be they'll have these comedians on and they'll be okay, you're going to come up with fake headlines on the fly for different things or different blurbs. And you can hear the audience laughing because it's funny, it's witty, but also being at times because you're not supposed to laugh. And again, I feel maybe Jay Leno shouldn't have weighed into this thing, but
he might have been asked.
Maybe he's just trying to bring some levity.
He's just not on the internet as much.
And does he know Jeremy Renner? You know,
I don't know. See, that's the thing. I think a big part of it is if you're not perpetually online, you can make these comments in passing like you used to be able to 20 years ago, and it just.
Even for the internet, it's so tame, right?
Yeah. Well, and if this was in a late night monologue, people would have been not great joke, but okay.
Just because it's a tweet, it's inflammatory. I don't know. And
because it's a slow
I've been
news
thinking
story.
about this more recently, that every individual probably has things that are off the table for jokes, at least jokes that they'll make, jokes that they will personally find funny. And I think that's fine, but the problem comes about when you start forcing your personal boundary of humor onto all of society. And that's what some people have attempted to do. Unfortunately, it seems like it's working.
Also, if you learn to laugh at yourself, you take a lot of the power away from...
I wanted to ask you, actually, when did you feel like it was allowed to make jokes about 9/11?
Come on, Grandpa, tell us about 9/11.
I mean, we're all Americans here. We can talk about that.
That's a very good question.
We're allowed to talk about it because we were the victims.
Do you know? What do you think? When do you think it was?
I don't know. I don't really joke about 9/11. I don't know.
I mean,
if
you were
like,
still like pretty young. I don't know if
I
meant that much
just
to you.
barely remember. But I grew up in the Northeast. Like I grew up in driving distance of New York City, and like my friends' parents commuted in.
Yeah.
And so I remember it being like a stressful time.
Okay.
But like, I don't make any jokes about it. But not that I guess I would be offended if someone did. I just don't. It's not something that occurs to me to make fun of. Like
I was just wondering.
I think it's easier if you're more removed from it. If it just seems like, oh, I got a day off from school that day or whatever.
I was wondering because you were like closer to. I
only
like
ever joke
adults
about it
make
in
dark
terms of,
jokes like that, or not around children.
I only joke about it in terms of Jesse Ventura, but that's just the only humor of
what do you mean?
I'm just asking questions.
But do you feel like there was a certain
not long after
statute of limitations on making jokes about it?
No. What's funny is because it inspired like a wave of like television that was just so American imperialism. Like my favorite thing is how every TV show after that would like every cop show was about the Patriot Act, where like they would use the Patriot Act to get away with just about everything, and like that's more offensive to me than joking. Like making that okay on television is more insulting to me than making jokes about it because of the longer repercussions about it. But beware of people with no sense of humor.
Yeah, I feel like for everyone there's different things.
But at the same time, then you have Ta-Nehisi Coates, who made his comments about 9/11 first responders that don't offend me.
Yeah.
That the comments don't necessarily offend me, but is that the person you hire to write Captain America?
Jokes.
No, they were not.
They were in earnest.
But do I want that guy writing Captain America? No. But then they're like, oh, you're offended by his comments. No, I'm saying that he's literally the wrong person for the job.
It's not even being offended. It's just like, I don't think this person is emotionally literate enough to write this certain type of story.
No sacred cows. Like everyone needs to be like, that's how we like the funny thing is this is something my dad was spot on about. When they started introducing protected classes, my dad said this will be a problem because there will be people that will be undefinably uninsultable. You won't be allowed to have humor at their expense, and that will not only damage your ability of your free speech, but it will actually sector them off from society, because a big part of how we connect with other people is
humor.
It's the idea of frat initiation, right? Your perceived importance to the group is raised through humiliation.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you humiliate them, but I'm saying that like me knowing that I can make fun of you and you can make fun of me makes our relationship easier to navigate, right? When you don't feel like you have to tiptoe around certain things.
Yeah, I think part of like having a level of like intimacy and comfort with someone is knowing that like they can take a joke essentially, or like they are not looking to convict you for every single thing you say, especially when you say things in jest. Like there are things that like I won't joke about, but not always because I'm super emotionally serious about them. I just don't have any material, or like it's just not, it doesn't occur to me. But there are things that like over time our culture moves back and forth on, right? So like I hate to invoke it, but like the Harvey Weinstein casting couch stuff, like that kind of was a joke in Hollywood. People would use it in monologues
all the time.
But then we changed our minds and we're like, wait, actually this is really bad. Like there are things that people might say as a joke, and in the right context I might laugh at it, but on other times like I don't know that it has to be funny, and I don't know that like you have to like, just because someone made a joke, if you don't find it funny, it doesn't make the joke not funny. It also doesn't make you obligated to laugh at the joke. You know what I'm saying? Like we have to give space for like humor to flop like, on occasion.
That's why I have a lot of respect for stand-up. Like it takes a strong sense of like you have to be kind of crazy to be willing to just like everyone's had a joke fall flat. And it's not a pleasant experience.
It's even worse for men.
To go up on stage and put yourself in a position where that's going to happen more than once in like a 5 to 10 minute span is kind of bonkers. Like I wouldn't want to do that. Like even doing this show, I'm not a huge
we're not comedians, thankfully. We don't have to
right? Like,
rely on being funny to be here.
But we don't really have to do that.
But for you guys, do you think that there's something you won't joke about, or something you won't if someone makes a joke about it then you simply won't find it funny. Because for me, it's like the kind of James Gunn territory, like that kind of thing, especially when it rings true for the industry he works in.
There's humor I don't
about
find
children,
funny,
I'm like,
offensive.
nah, that's not funny.
There's stuff that I just don't laugh at, right? Like, I don't find it funny. I wouldn't make the joke. I'm not going to pity laugh at you if you make a joke that I don't find funny.
I mean, it's the
but
same,
like, I wouldn't tell you not to make the joke. I would just tell you why I don't.
Yeah, that's different.
You know what I mean? There's definitely stuff that like I think is serious and people laugh at that like I don't, right? Like, I don't know, suicide, right? Like, I personally feel like I would never jokingly, like, that's not something I would joke about, and that's not something I would want someone to joke about. Like, but I don't freak out if someone does, right? I don't have a moral high ground. It's just that it's not funny to me, and therefore I'm not going to laugh.
I find there's probably a joke about every single off-color topic or bad topic that I find funny. The stuff me and Mary joke about is abhorrent.
But it's because
humor.
we just have that familiarity with each other.
Yeah. And like it doesn't matter if you're having a good time, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to freak out if someone jokes about something I don't care about, but like I don't think that like just because you're like, I get annoyed when people are like, it was a joke. It's like, but maybe it was a bad joke. Maybe you're just not that funny. Like, people will get upset.
I'm
when
okay
their
with
jokes
that. Yeah,
It's not a call for censorship. It's a call for social shaming.
Yeah.
It's like it's not that what you said was bad. It's that it wasn't funny, and that's the funny thing is. Like, the average person would rather be told their joke is offensive than unfunny.
Yeah, I think that because that makes them feel kind of like salacious, right? Like
Yeah.
the Jay Leno thing isn't controversial to me. It's just not that funny, right? Like, it takes a long setup. It was sort of out of
kind of a
nowhere.
dad joke in a
I don't
way.
really get it. Like, it's just not that funny to me. But I'm not going to freak out that he posted it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the stuff that I find funny. I could never say on here most of the time, and that's
If
fine.
only it were like a members only.
Even then,
show. even then there would some things would be off the table that just are for
Look, there are
private
people who
conversations.
Like, there was a time here where there would be like dead mom jokes made that, as somebody who lost his mother, I could laugh at because I have been through it. I've come out the other side with perspective. So when those jokes would be made to me by somebody that understood that this was something that I was okay with. I mean, after the first time it happened, it was by accident, and I laughed because it was funny because it was in a situation where it was like literally we had just talked about it and then asked something where it's like as if like my mom was still alive. And we both laughed because it was literally like right after this happened. And after that, it became a thing. I have dealt with what I had to deal with to get through the loss of my mom. I miss my mom every day, but I don't find that humor, if anything, being able to share the little bit of light in a dark moment with somebody that you're comfortable with is an affirmation of human connection to me.
And I think it depends on where it comes from, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about this experience with someone you're close to, right? Like,
Yes.
if you're close to someone, it's very different experience.
If somebody made like a your mom joke to me and knew my mom was passed,
I always just say
it wouldn't offend me.
See, I always, when people make your mom jokes, I just say my mom's dead. And it really freaks people out because it's true. But they get uncomfortable,
But
and
the
that's
comeback
funnier.
is the funny thing is to say that when they're not dead, it's just to make them feel uncomfortable.
See, that happened to me once. When I was in like middle school or something, someone like made a your mom joke, and I was like, my mom's dead, and he was like, so is mine. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then the person next to him was like, no, she's being serious, and I got to be like weird and morbid. I found delight in it. He was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like, it's cool, but like his joke wasn't actually that funny. My response, this is gonna sound like arrogant, but like my response was much funnier.
Yes.
And like, again, I wasn't super friends with this guy. I didn't really like him. I didn't mind making him feel uncomfortable. It's very different when someone makes a joke and you can laugh at it with a friend. Like, context is everything. Again, to just keep going back to Jay Leno, I don't get why he made this joke.
There's a great
I don't get
meme
any point to it.
it's a picture of Stalin, and it says dark humor's like food, not everybody gets it.
It's hilarious.
Like, look, you have to be able to laugh. Like, one of the things that's gotten us into the world we live in right now is that people with no sense of humor are trying to control how everyone talks, and nobody can laugh. Like, we watch Velma, And I don't think they should be censored. I just think it's stupid. I just think it's bad. Like, there's like when they make the like there was the one joke about about Norville's dad cleaning up so that his wife's boyfriend could come over. I laughed at that. Like, I can laugh at the white people are awful humor if it's good.
So the mental health awareness squirrel.
If it's good, I can do it. It's just that they're not good at it most of the time.
They do it accidentally.
People with no sense of humor are in for a long, arduous life, and I don't envy them.
Thanks for watching. Listen to full episodes of Pop Culture Crisis on Spotify.
Keep up with us on social media and make sure you subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss the show. Bye, guys.